With the release of FutureWorks steering this week on Zwift, you need a way to swivel your handlebars indoors on a trainer to participate in what is effectively a user experience test. A lot of people have asked about my homemade solution as seen here, so today that's what we're looking at. First things first, why do we need a steering riser block? Well, I'm glad you asked. First of all, the standard riser blocks that we use don't move at all. They are static, they lock our front wheel in and you cannot turn. Secondly, pivoting a wheel on a trainer mat will eventually wear a hole in that trainer mat, as seen here today on Zwift Riders. Pivoting your front wheel and tyre on a hard surface will eventually lead to flat spots or wear and tear of either the tyre or the floor it's on. It's not a pretty solution. And most importantly, no trainer that I know of is built to take into account the front pivoting of a bike. Typically they can go from side to side, like on a rocker plate or a Kurt Kinetic Rock and Roll or an R1, but that steering motion will pull a bike a little bit forward. So that needs to be counteracted by tilting that plate to make sure the back is as stationary as possible. Using a steering plate allows for that to take place. For me, steering within Zwift I see as more gamification than simulation. Outdoors, we have flow, we have balance, we have counter steering, we have all the fun things. Indoors, doing that is not a simulation, it's simply a game. And as such, at this point in time, as this is only a user experience test with a very short section of road, I wouldn't be spending any more than a few dollars on a solution. If this steering craze does take off, the trainer companies are already ahead of the game here. There's a few prototypes already been spotted, this one from Elite, which takes into the pivot and the tilt. There's one from Jet Black, which is said to be out by Christmas, and the Tacx NeoTrack has been out for a few years now. Now that is quite an expensive solution, but hey, it may be integrated soon into something like Zwift to allow us to have a better steering experience. Okay, now looking at the hardware components we will need. At the hardware store here, I have found the Lazy Susan bearing plate. The 150mm circumference one is all you'll need, that's just fine. It says on the back here how to build it and what you need if you're going to put it on the kitchen table. Not what we're doing with this at this point in time. $7 for that one. There's also a larger one if you want to go a lot bigger. That's a $15 version though, so I won't be using that one. For the top plate / board on top, I'll be using just a small piece of round MDF board screwed in with 4 screws. As you can see there, just a few dollars for that. Scrap wood will also do just fine. If you're placing your trainer on hard floor, you could get a little fancy and put some rubber backing or rubber stoppers on each corner of the plate if you want to go down that route. Just a few dollars for those. And one thing I will suggest is a soft mat, rubber padding, something on top of the board. This one here is a few dollars, but it has the adhesive backing on it already. And the reason why is because you don't want your tire to slip side to side like that. You want it to sink in to the plate and turn on the plate as expected. To minimize production time and cost for this video, I'll just simply show you how this is put together with the one I've already built. Flipping it over here, tilting this to the side, you can see the 4 screws that have connected the MDF board to the base plate. They're the bearings there. Flipping it over, I've just glued some rubber matting on the top so the wheel sinks into it, and there's just some cardboard that I've gaffer taped on the back so it adds a bit of tilt and it turns. It really is a simple solution, probably less than 5 minutes to build. And putting it with the center right here and turning, job done. If you want to get a little bit fancy, visit your local homeware stores as I did here last night, and I hit the jackpot. $18. We have a magnificent wood grain Lazy Susan pre-built, everything. All we'll need to do is add a little bit of tilt to that. Got a ready-made solution. Oh yeah, of course, I had to buy one. $18. It was a bargain, so it's now in the Llama Lab. If that doesn't work, it's going on the kitchen table for Christmas dinner. Finally today, to answer a few questions that have come through on these steering riser blocks. Firstly, what's the specific tilt angle needed to make sure the bike doesn't move at the back end? The answer there is I've got absolutely no idea. I've just chalked this up with a bit of cardboard. I did say it was a budget solution, so I've gone with the solution that kind of works and the back end of my bike's not moving. Happy days. Secondly, what height should the riser block be for the best experience? And that's entirely up to you. For me, indoors, I have the front end a few inches up, just because that's the way I've always done it. So That lifts it about probably an inch or so, but it's entirely up to you how high you need that riser. Another observation of this cheap hackery was that it doesn't auto center. Outdoors, a bike will go straight in a straight line. You can take your hands off the bars, it goes as long as you don't fall off. On this, yes, of course, it does sort of go to one side and back to the other, but it was still natural for me to just auto straighten the bars anyway. So for a cheap solution, no, it doesn't auto center like those other commercial solutions do or will, but it was fine. And lastly, will this hack work with the Kickr Climb? Very good question that gets a little complex. Here's one I prepared, well, I didn't prepare earlier. Here's one from Wahoo. As the Kickr Climb goes up and down, the center pivot point will change. If you were to have the Kickr Climb on flat ground, it'll probably wear the bottom of that off, so probably not advisable. I think this is where my Christmas table solution may come in handy, but work in progress. Watch this space for the climb. And finally, that bike mount was a Quadlock, an Aussie company that I support, and I'll also support viewers of this channel as well. For now, get in quick. Code GPLlama on Quadlock's website will get you 20% off anything like that, so links below for that. Or if you use Amazon, Amazon links too below. So there we are, the $10 budget steering riser for Zwift, so you can participate in future work steering without too much outlay. And I do think if it does take off, those commercial solutions will be the way to go. We'll cover those when they arrive. All right, thanks for watching this one. Remember to hit subscribe to support this channel, and have a great weekend.